Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Feel free to drop in the comments as you're heading in where you're calling in from. We always like to hear. Maria and I are actually calling in from our office based in San Francisco. So welcome, everyone. We'll wait just a little bit longer just for people to kind of trickle in, but welcome. We also have Meg on the call from our team. She will be helping assist with any questions that pop up. But yeah, feel free to drop in the chat. Awesome. Great. Well, I will go ahead and kick off introductions here. My name's Allison. I'm with the customer success team here at Scribe. Really looking forward to sharing a little bit more about how to streamline the training and onboarding process with Scribe. But yeah, I'll hand it off to Maria.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maria. Also very excited to just talk through the different features of Scribe and how it can help you optimize your work. But super excited.
Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and start off by launching a couple of polls here. So feel free to go ahead and fill that out. The first one's going to be a speed preference just to see if we can tailor the call in any way. So feel free to go ahead and select that. Hopefully we can adjust. Right, I'll leave that up for just a couple more seconds, but thank you folks for filling that out. Really appreciate it. Awesome. Looks like we have some people who are looking to learn fast as well as kind of take their time in a sense. So we'll try to balance that today. I'll go ahead and end that. But yeah, to go ahead and kick us off here, just a quick note, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in that Q&A button at the bottom or put it in the chat. We have some hands on deck to go ahead and help today, but I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right. So welcome to Scribe Spotlight. This is a newer motion. We actually just started. You might have joined our Scribe 101 in the past. Quick breakdown between the two is Scribe Spotlight specifically focuses on one topic. Today we're doing training and onboarding, but we've also done editing, sharing, all sorts of different things like security. It happens every Wednesday, so feel free to sign up and register for more. But we also have our Scribe 101, which is basically just a little bit longer, a more in-depth overall comprehensive overview of Scribe. So that's also helpful if you're just getting started with Scribe 2. But just a quick go over an agenda, we're going to start off why you should really optimize training with Scribe, as well as kind of highlight some relevant functionality, and then try to point out any best practices and use cases. We really encourage you all to kind of follow along as we show. And then if anything comes up, as mentioned, feel free to drop that in the Q&A or the chat. I know probably most of us are pretty familiar with Scribe, but just a quick go over what we do. Our main goal is to help automatically document and scale how your team's work gets done. I feel everyone kind of knows us as the software that's going to help you document faster. However, especially in relation to training and onboarding, we do a couple of other things very well, such as we help your team find their answers more easily, and we ensure work gets done right. So in short, as you start to build up this knowledge base, which is really helpful for those who are just joining or training, going through new processes, people start to notice people are able to answer their own questions, which who doesn't love that, as well as consistency starts to drive up once they have something that they can really rely on. I always like to quick flash this up too, just some general reviews, so take your time to quick glance here, but you might be wondering, okay, why does this really matter? I'm capturing, but why should I care? I feel like Scribe is the perfect tool for training and onboarding, actually one of our biggest use cases across our customers. And it's accessible content and you want to make it reliable for everyone. And if you start onboarding smart, you start to feel like, again, that consistency goes up as well as people start doing their best work. So I'll go ahead and transition into one of my favorite functionalities about Scribe that sometimes people overlook. This is known as a page. So in short, we like to compare a scribe to a recipe. It's kind of telling you step by step what to do right with an image, a little text blurb. We like to compare a page to a cookbook. So this is a one-stop shop for individuals and users about, a topic or a general software, whatever. The sky is really the limit here. So here is an example of a new hire onboarding guide. As you can see, we have text on here. But if I keep scrolling, we can incorporate things like Miro charts, make it more interactive with some links, as well as a media. So you can even upload a YouTube video. So if you have something that's like existing, you can incorporate that here. But probably the best thing to note here is you can actually integrate individual scribes here. So for example, if I was the end user, I could easily click into this and out pops the scribes and I can directly interact with it. So this is really helpful as you start to have all these scribes that you build up. You can kind of transform them and break them up into bite-sized pieces and kind of have it sectioned off into one easy, accessible guide. All right. I also want to show an example of one of our clients who actually has embedded a page into their website. So this is also another great feature of a page is that you can share it a couple of different ways. One of the ways is the embedding functionality. So as you can see, this person had put it into their website, but you can put this into your knowledge base or even like SharePoint, for example. So again, super easy and accessible to interact with for the end users. And you might be wondering, okay, how would I create one? How does that work? I want to point out our gallery, which maybe Maria can drop in the chat at some point, or I can always throw it in later. But this is basically our repository for scribes and pages. So these are some page templates you can actually utilize. As we see, we have a bunch of different ones you can select from depending on your use case. But this is helpful just for a general framework on, how do I get started? And then you can actually kind of go in and click use this template and it will give you a nice framework to go ahead and get started. And you might be wondering, how can I create a page? All you would do is go to your Scribe dashboard and click create a page. And the nice thing is not only do we have those templates, but you can also create a page with AI. So if you're trying to move fast, this is a really great option. Essentially, you would give it a prompt. So I could say maybe create an onboarding guide for our new grad sales team who just joined. Keep to maybe 600 words. You can give it a prompt. The nice thing is this character count is very generous. So if you wanted to copy and paste maybe even an existing document and kind of have it reformat or even be like, maybe condense this for me a bit, it will go ahead and do that. So I went ahead and gave it this prompt. I can also select relevant scribes. So these are my recently created scribes that pop up. So for example, I'll click whatever I think is applicable. Just for the demo purposes, I'll just kind of select a few different things. But if you're not seeing what pops up as relevant, you can always search a scribe. So if I wanted to search just works, you can always add in a scribe there. You can delete something also if you accidentally clicked it, but for the demo, I'll go ahead and click done. And as you can see, it's going to go ahead and start writing out. Again, another framework, but this is a little bit more tailored to the prompt I gave it versus the template, might take a little bit more in fine tuning to make it more relevant to your use case. Of course, you're still going to have to go in the back end and do some editing, adding some different things, but it's really nice to kind of have, and as you can see off the bat, it linked those scribes that I selected and kind of identified where's the best place to put it. Not sure if any comments came up, so I'll go ahead and pause just for everyone to kind of maybe catch up to speed if you're following along, or if any questions come up, feel free to go ahead and shout that out. Awesome. Great. And then something I do want to point out is our toolbar. So if you wanted to add, some more content or just different things like that, of course you can type directly, but as you can see, we have this T box pop up with this little toolbar. You can add in a bunch of different things or even select headers, bulleted lists. This is also how you would add in those images like I mentioned, or insert media such as those YouTube videos. You can even add like a placeholder. So maybe if, you say to yourself, okay, I have this group of individuals who I'm going to be onboarding in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to place preemptively a little placeholder here to remind myself to create this scribe on this workflow that people need to learn. And then later you can go ahead and attach it, which is super convenient. But yeah, I really enjoy pages, especially when I was even onboarding here. They were the most resourceful thing that I used to train. So I really enjoy it. But just to kind of go over how this works in terms of sharing, all our options for this would be two things. We have the typical sharing of, I can add in an email to share with an individual, or I can even directly copy the link. I can also change exactly who I would want to share this with. So I can change it to anyone with the link in view if I maybe have, of course, probably most likely people who are just joining probably aren't set up with a license yet. You can always change it to that. I can also, when I invite an email who maybe has a license, I can go in on the back end and change if they can edit or can view. So if maybe you have people on your HR team or different teams who are going to be helping assist with onboarding, you can make them an editor so they can also go in and change a few things or simply view just for feedback. The other way you can share a page is our embedding functionality. So as you can see, this is what it would look like. I know I showed you that Motlao State example of how it looks embedded into a website. Again, this is very accessible and easy for the end user. So highly recommend that. But last thing before I pass it off to Maria to share a little bit more about the functionality is I want to shout out specifically sharing with Scribes. So I just went over how to share a page. I also want to shout out that we have a few different options for sharing a scribe specifically. So again, we still kind of have that common sharing, adding emails as I went over. We also have the embedding functionality. The nice thing is we have 3 different viewing modes. So we have the slides, which is essentially a slideshow. So maybe people are used to kind of like a PowerPoint or a slide deck, easy to kind of go through and sift through the content. But if you have some visual learners, which might be nice for people who are just joining, you can do a movie functionality, which I'll demo in a second. And then our last way that you could actually do a viewing mode is our scrolling functionality. So if maybe someone wanted to just quick access this content, or if maybe it's a little bit of a shorter guide, this might be a little bit easier for accessibility. All you would do is just copy the embed code and essentially put it into things like SharePoint. We have a bunch of different platforms that can be embedded into. So as long as the platform takes iframes and that's compatible, it will be able to be embedded. So I'll go ahead and link in the follow-up email how to embed just for your end so you can try it. I'll quick show what these look like actually embedded into Notion. We're big Notion users here at Scribe. So as you can see, we have the slides. We also have that scrolling functionality. And then I'll quick show you that movie example, which is basically a sizzle reel with an AI voice just going over what's typed in the steps.
This guide will show you how to find your LinkedIn username. Go to this link. Click the Me dropdown. Click View Profile.
So you can kind of gauge how nice it would be to have that visual element. You can always change and adjust the playback speed too. So that's a question sometimes that comes up. You can do that on your end as well. But I'll go ahead and pass it off to Maria.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison, for giving a really great overview of pages. I know that's one of my favorite things about Scribe is being able to see everything from a bird's eye view in terms of things that I need to complete. So really quickly, I am going to be sharing a couple of things with you all. And as I'm getting this pulled up, if you guys have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to continue sharing them via the chat or our Q&A functionality. Awesome. So now I'm going to be showcasing something really cool that from the viewer's point of view, you can actually utilize. So we have a couple of things within Scribe, and one of them is the ability to have viewers licenses. So these are for people who aren't necessarily creating content, but still want to have access to a couple of features within Scribe and some access to the Scribe workspace as well. And so if you're interested in that, we're happy to share more information. If you just want to comment interested in the chat, or feel free to email us via success@scribehow.com. I think Meg added that in the messaging platform as well. Jessica, I see that you raised your hand. We're happy to take any questions via that Q&A functionality or the chat if you'd like to share those questions. Awesome. So one thing that viewers, once they have viewers access, can really see, same thing with creators, is our Guide Me functionality. And so when you go into a specific scribe, click this arrow button right here. It'll actually take you straight to that website or that platform and provide that end user with extra hand holding through a specific process. This is especially great for more complicated processes where, it would be just helpful to have that extra hand. So this is just a really simple process that takes you through a specific scribe setting. And so as you can see, it takes me through step by step and pops up on the screen itself. So that click target pops up. I'm able to click on it. And it takes me step by step what that looks like on the user end right here. And right here, I do have a step without a specific screenshot, so I'm just going to click next. And as you can see, it takes me to that next step where I'm able to click admin. Awesome. This is especially helpful, again, for those more complicated steps. I found that this was really helpful when I was onboarding, for example, into Salesforce, just starting this job. So this is really great for a bunch of different platforms. Cool. So Guide Me is a really great feature that a lot of our end users especially love, especially when you're going through training and onboarding in a new role, new company, whatever else. Something that I'd also like to point out within this scribe is the ability to see specific insights here. So if you want to click this button right here, you're actually able to view individual insights within a specific scribe. So this includes everything from completion rate, who exactly viewed this specific scribe, and how many people were able to view it. If you have viewers licenses, you can really track down who exactly viewed your scribe, and so that's where they'll pop up right here. Another great feature that I also like to shout out while we're here is the ability to comment on specific steps. So this is perfect if you're onboarding maybe just a really small cohort of people and maybe they're confused about a specific step. I can comment right here and say Allison was the one who was onboarding me into Scribe, and I was confused about this specific step here. What I can do is I can add Allison and I can say, can you explain this more? Question mark. Allison will then receive an email saying that I've tagged her in a specific scribe, what that comment was, and she can actually respond to me via the commenting feature or asynchronously on Slack or whatever platform that we use. If you want to look at all of those different comments that your specific scribe has, you can also click that comments button right here and see it from a bird's eye view. What I like to showcase is your ability to actually resolve specific comments, and then it'll actually go over to the resolve section. And this is great, again, just to keep up with the different comments and questions that individuals might have. Awesome. I'm going to pause right here, see if you guys have any questions, give you time to go through this specific process and just try it out for yourself. And again, Allison and Meg are also supporting, so if you guys have any questions, just feel free to use the chat or the Q&A functionality. Amazing. Great. So one thing that I like to showcase is this Scribe dashboard. And so this is what you'll see when you actually log into Scribe. And for our power users, you're very familiar with what this looks like, but you're actually able to also see insights from a bird's eye perspective. So if you click insights here on the left-hand side, you're able to see your individual insights. So, your share rate, your completion rate, your total docs that you created. And you can see your entire organization as well, and their specific statistics and insights. You can see everything again from the share rate to completion rate to total docs created, and you can actually filter this between last 7 days, last month, last 3 months, or the last year. This is great, again, for the HR perspective if you're trying to see who's really interacting with scribes or pages within your team, your organization. Awesome. And the last thing I am going to go over is our tasks feature. And this is really awesome, especially when you are kind of assigning a specific onboarding guide or a specific scribe to a group of individuals. And so we have a couple of sections here. We have team tasks. So this is, if I'm in a team with Allison and Meg, they're going to be able to see these tasks. I have my own personal tasks here. And then I have completed tasks that filter into this specific tab. And so if I wanted to create a specific task, say I wanted Allison to kind of finish an onboarding guide, I would say, please read through and complete activities on this guide. I can assign this task to her. So I assign it to Allison Edwards. And then I can edit when this would be due. So if I wanted to make it due on October 1st, I can do that. One thing that I like to shout out is that you can actually link a document. So as you can see here, we have some recently created documents, and you can also copy and paste a scribe or a page URL. Just for simplicity's sake, I am going to click this change team permission scribe, and I'm going to add that link. And that is something that you'll be able to see on your end. And Allison will also get an email on her end saying that she had a task here. In terms of making sure that you're on track with your tasks and kind of seeing that on a two-way street, you can actually update whether or not you have not started, you're in progress, or you've completed that task. So I'm going to put in progress here. And that is our tasks feature. I'm going to pause here again to see if you guys have any questions regarding the task feature and also give you guys a chance to try it out yourself. see Carissa has a question. Training to a group. Does everyone need paid licenses to view the material and be assigned it? Or can they have free accounts but be considered a part of the organization? We have come up with the issue and haven't found a way to resolve it. When it comes to viewing the material, if it is only shared within your organization or within your team, if you set those sharing permissions like Allison showed, those will be enforced as in only individuals within those or who have those licenses would be able to see those scribes if it's shared within your organization or within your team. If it's linked to anyone with a link in view, similar to, again, what Allison showed, then you won't necessarily need a license or an enterprise license specifically to view that scribe. Allison or Meg, if you guys have anything to add there.
Yeah, I think you covered it, Maria. I was just going to say users on the free plan are outside of your enterprise organization, so they are separate, but yeah.
Great. Can you sign things? Stop sharing. Can you assign things if it is set to anyone with a link can view? I believe that if you are within your enterprise organization and you are assigning a specific person who has a free license, that isn't a possibility. Meg, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, the tasks are for that individual team. So you can assign it out to anybody who's in that specific team. So again, like viewer licenses would be the way to bring everybody into enterprise so you can interact with this different functionality.
Yes, and we will send you more information on that as well via email. But in terms of the demo, that is it. We do have one more Scribe Spotlight coming up. I am going to share my screen again and just show you guys what those look like. So as you can see, today we have training and onboarding, and next week we have Scribe and AI. We will have our October details coming up, and we'll share those specific sessions on our next week's topic. But Allison or Meg should be dropping a link in the chat if you guys want to sign up for those future webinars. But we'll stay on for a couple more minutes to see if you guys have any other questions we're happy to answer. Amazing. Great.
Last thing I would say, just because there are so many questions in the chat, feel free to reach out to us at success@scribehow.com. We're happy to set up 15 minutes, talk through your individual use case and how you can make the most of the tool on your plan. So definitely reach out to us. We're happy to do individual sessions as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining. We hope to see you in future Scribe Spotlight sessions and also our Scribe 101 webinars as well. Allison did drop a link there, so if you guys want to sign up for that, we'll be back next Wednesday. But thank you all for joining and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone.